Hello, everybody. It's Lisa Derby Oden, MassMEP Project Development Coordinator, and I'm here today with Paul LaFond, who's the Vice President of Sales at SMC Limited. And Paul, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us more about what SMC does, that kind of thing, for starters.
Okay, great. Great to be here, Lisa. Thank you. Name is Paul LaFond, and I'm Vice President of Sales for SMC. Been with the company now coming up on a little over 7 years. I'm based here in Boston, but travel to our Wisconsin headquarters quite often. Have us here in Devens, Massachusetts, which is one of our largest contract manufacturing facilities. In general, SMC it's a contract development manufacturing company, so it's a CDMO. It's founded in '88. It's a single owner. His name is Chetan Patel, and headquartered in Somerset, Wisconsin. Again, a private company, 33 years in the business. We target three major markets, which is drug delivery, diagnostic, and general medical surgical. In those three areas. About over 60% of what we do is finished device. So it's not just an injection molding company that manufactures components, but 100% of our revenue is tied to the medical space, is in the medical space. So we're not mixed in any other kind of industries. In terms of plants, we have contract manufacturing plants in Santa Rosa, California. We've got two facilities in Wisconsin, one in Somerset, one in Amory, a large facility here in Devens, Massachusetts. And we have two outside the country in Coyol, Costa Rica, and also in Bangalore, India. We have a design center in Twinsburg, Ohio. So that's kind of our makeup. All of our plants are FDA registered, and they're ISO 13485, as one would expect.
You know, you're a much bigger organization than I had even realized. I knew you were big, but I had no idea the total breadth of your different locations and that kind of thing. And you know, you do medical devices, so I think that a lot of people probably, myself included, I think medical devices, okay, they're probably doing okay during COVID. You know, because I would think, well, medical means essential services and that kind of thing. So can you share with us more, really, the real true story of how COVID has impacted your business? Because I think that would be very enlightening for people. And when I talk about impacts, I talk about, you know, there's positives and negatives, obviously. So.
No, absolutely. It's been a turmoil year for us and for everybody. I think we've had to adapt, you know, like everybody has, as you watch the news. But it's been mixed for us. So because we're in three sub-segments of healthcare, which is the drug delivery, diagnostic, and med device, our med device business was down. The surgical part was down, orthopedics was down, cardiovascular, general surgical, because these elective surgeries were put on hold, postponed, and even canceled. As we speak right now, you know, the electives in hospitals are canceled. Orthopedics are, right? You know, so the inventories have been depleted you know, back in the spring, but they've been put on hold. And so the OEMs, our customers, are holding a lot of inventory. So I don't see that coming back until the late Q2, Q3. Obviously, with the vaccine rollout, it's going to help us a little bit. But med device was down, so we took a hit, you know, from you know, as a general rule in that space. But the fact that we were in, and pharma was also a little slow because clinical trials weren't happening at the same time. So if you can't get a lot of people to show up at hospitals for clinical trials during the pandemic,
right?
New drugs weren't being really introduced, so that was a slowdown. But our diagnostic business really skyrocketed, as you can imagine, between all the testing, both point of care and the clinical testing, and that's really what you know, where we shifted a lot of our equipment, our floor space, and was able to sustain some of the push, you know, the drawback in the other two markets.
So I'm thinking that, you know, since you were able to maybe even keep your business at least level, right? You're still having to manage your workforce during this time. And again, there's got to be significant challenges in regards to that, in managing not only your incumbent workforce with all the COVID outbreaks, but also with if you've been trying to do any new hires. Can you talk about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, that's been the single biggest challenge for us is the ability for us to meet demand, especially in the diagnostic space, has been labor. It both from direct labor and skilled professional positions. It's so there's a host of things that have kind of been part of that. One is that some of our workers decided either through whatever reason of COVID, it made more sense for them to stay at home. And so we lost some existing workforce, decided to pull back and remain at home. We had hiring and bringing new people in has been a challenge. We've got probably close to 50 or better positions open in Massachusetts. We've got about the same in our facilities in California and Wisconsin. So that's been a big challenge, hiring. And then there's a course of, outside of the pandemic, trying to get skilled labor. And that's been, we have training programs internal, but that's been a challenge as well.
So can you talk just a little bit about, like for an entry-level job, maybe what kind of skills people might need? And then maybe you could also share, you must have places on your website where people could go look at what you have for job openings. So, I'd love to be able to direct people towards that too, if we could.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I mean, we have a lot of openings for operators. We're looking for those that, for any one of our shifts that we run. We run 7x24, 3 shifts. So we're looking for any kind of operators. And again, we're located in the Devon's Park in Massachusetts. It's that's our biggest need. Machine operators would be key. Tooling engineers, quality engineers. When you get to the skilled positions, bringing in quality people. When I say quality engineering people, obviously quality people is key. But that's a challenge. We have going on our website. We do have a section in the HR area for job postings. You can certainly contact our HR direct at Independence Drive and Devon's. But it's we're doing everything we can. We're using recruiters, to bring in people. And we right now, again, we're not meeting our demand because really of that bottleneck.
Okay, and so is your website address www.smcltd.com?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay,
that's right.
Great. So if people wanted to look for the career section, that's where they would go then.
Perfect. Yes.
Excellent. So now we're into 2021 now, and like you say, the vaccines have been released, and we're working on that phase of COVID now. So what do you see for down the road? For 2021, what do you see as potentially, quote unquote, a new normal?
Yeah, that we've been thinking about that a lot. Obviously, we're working a calendar year, so we're kicking into 21 now. I see that one of the big things we had to adapt to quickly is virtual tours. We can't sell a program to a new customer without them coming in and seeing our plant, and you can't come in and see our plant during a lot of these shutdowns. So as a result, we came up with a pretty good idea of making these virtual tours and narrated live. I think, and they have turned out really well. We've been able to, book new business as a result of these virtual tours in all our plants. So I think that's huge. It allows, instead of 20 people flying from Chicago into Massachusetts to look at our facility, you can now have this virtual tour going on. So that's a big thing that's going to stay. I think there's no question there's the Teams meetings, these virtual meetings everyone's having. They're so much more efficient. You get more people involved in the decision. Those things we see are going to stay. Working at home is from about 10% to 15% of our sales, not sales, but positions will remain at home. I think that's, we're finding that they're very efficient. Not everybody needs to be in a facility, especially a manufacturing facility. So I think those are the things that are key. There'll be testing's not going away. So a lot of the diagnostic customers that we sell to today, or we manufacture for, you know, they're looking long term. As we know, there's strains mutating all the time. So testing for schools and large events and maybe airports and things are going to remain, because the pricing and cost of the tests are coming down as the volumes go up and the efficiencies come in. And not all these testing companies are going to make it, but the most efficient ones will eventually. And I think that's here to stay, not at the numbers we're doing today, but it's not going to go away.
You know, I appreciate all of those comments that you made about the new normal kind of thing. I am going to be very curious to see when we are further down the road. There have been a lot of good things or good positive changes that have come out of this, you know, despite all the other terrible things that are going on. So I think it is going to be interesting to see. I think that covers just about everything that we were going to chat about today. Paul, is there anything else that you'd like to add at this point in time?
No, I'm optimistic about 21. I appreciate the time with you, Lisa, but optimistic about 21. I think the first few months will be, you know, challenging, but I suspect it'll open up.
That's great. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking some time to do this with us, and maybe we'll chat again on the other side of this whole thing and see how things are going then. Thanks, Paul.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.